Today we're going to look at the most amazing reselling tool that I own. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to look at the most amazing reselling tool I have. This is something that I'm more fond of than any other tool I guess I have, and that is my Epson DS Scanner. Now we're going to look at this up close and tell you why this is so cool, what this does, how much time this one device saves me, how easy it is to use, and everything else. Now this is the Epson DS Scanner. The DS stands for double-sided. This scanner will do both sides of your item. No more taking photos, no more wasting time flipping anything over. You just drop it into this scanner here and it will scan it very quickly on both sides. There is a plate of glass on both sides with a scanner. Opens up. It's a small device actually. There's nothing to it. It's just a very small device. But it does everything that I need it to do. It's got a pull out here to stick everything. You can fold it out. So this will catch it if you've got some stuff flopping off the bottom here. Now this one here they don't make anymore. New, these were like 600 bucks, I want to say. I bought this one used for around 100 bucks off of eBay or Newegg or something like that. It's done me well. It came with the cords. I've got the battery pack with it. You don't necessarily have to have the one that came with it. This is how I got it. It's just a standard, normal type of USB device cable here as well. So if it doesn't come with that, as long as you have the power cord, you are set. Now, this will scan a whole bunch of cards in just a few moments here without any issues. Now, we're going to scan some. I'll show you the app real quick, and I'll show you putting them in here. We'll do some postcards real quick. Now let's scan a few just to give you an idea on how quick this is. Now I've got this set really high. This is 600 DPI. That's the setting that I use when I scan pretty much anything, especially these types of postcards. I do zoom-ins, and that honestly helps me doing the zoom-in. So let's go ahead. Now again, this is 600 DPI. So if I sped this up to say 200 DPI, it will be like 3 or 4 times as fast. Now this is scanning both sides of the cards pretty much identically at the same time. Both sides same DPI. It's extremely quick. It lines everything up. So each one of these cards going through here is at least $9.99 that I will list it at. And honestly, I think all these are $17.50 or higher. Every one of these cards that's going through here. So in the time it takes people to get out a camera and take photos and stuff, I've just scanned a whole mess of items here. Now in a minute or so, you can scan like 40 or so if you do them at a real high DPI. So how many did I do in just that few seconds here? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 items I did in like, what, 10 seconds or something. So you can easily do 40 a minute, and this is at high DPI. So if I shrunk this down, I crunched it down to say 200 DPI, 75 DPI, it's just going to whiz through here. With this as well, I can do 8x10s. Anything that will fit in this reach here, 8x10 or even 8x12, 14, whatever, as long as it's not more than 8 inches, it fits in here. So anything that's paper. Now you can get what's called a carrier sheet, and you can actually scan round and all types of die cut items in here as well. There is a way to do stamps in here. Also, a carrier sheet is a piece of plastic that goes around the item, and that is perfectly squared off. So anything that's in there, it will just pull it right on through. It's called a carrier sheet. As I said, they're readily available for most of these units. Some will have problems pulling them through this, but with these Epsons, the DS models, any of the DS models 510 or higher, I've used and can tell you they're all pretty good. I actually have 2 of these because I liked it so well, and it's so darn useful. If I come home after getting a whole bunch of cool stuff, all I got to do is drop it in here. This is always hooked up to a laptop or a PC or something. At least one of them is. And all you got to do is flip a button, click a button on the PC. It will open up the app, and then boom, you just slide anything in there. I can have something home and listed online in just like 2 minutes or less if it's something quick like this. So this thing has been a lifesaver. This is the best, I would say, overall investment that I've had for saving us time, money, effort, everything. Again, this is mostly for paper, as I said, though. Anything, though, that will fit on that 8.5 by 11 sheet will go through here on a carrier sheet, if not, you know, the way it is. Now, you can do down to like a business card size with this scanner. I have had some problems with things smaller than that. If the paper is thick, it's thicker than this. There's a setting you can do in the app that you can adjust that will actually change the thickness it pulls through here. To adjust the rollers, so the rollers will pull thicker items through or thinner items. So if it's having problems pulling through it, that's 9 out of 10 times what I found. Now, you can also set it up so this will give you a border around the item. Some scanners that I've seen, if you scan it through, it chops it off and actually blocks off part of the edge of this. But if you put a border, it scans the entire object and then puts just whatever color type of border you want around the item itself. But the point of that is that it shows every single millimeter, every single speck of the card is shown when you add the border. This honestly has saved us, I mean, I don't know how much time. It's an insane amount of time. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of photographing stuff is saved by this machine and done in 20th or 30th of the time with this thing too. I hardly ever even use any of the cameras like a photo-wise for any paper anymore at all, other than maybe some really large ones maybe. I don't even think we use that. I use a flatbed scanner these days. Another Epson as well, Epson Visioneer. I think it's a V600 or V6100 or V600, I think, scanner, the other one. But this is great. If you've got an extra $100 or so, track one of these down. Any of these versions, DS, anything above 510. I have not used anything older than the 510 model, but I've used many newer and seen, and I've got friends who have them, other resellers who have the newer models of this. They all work the same. So DS 510 or newer. I'll have some links down below to some of the items we use if you're curious, but I am telling you without a doubt this thing has saved us a world of hassle, pain, money, and time in general. Let's look at the app now real quick also. Now I've got the app down here. Let's open it up here. Now what's interesting about most of the Epson scanners that you can get, the Epson Scan app, which is a free download, will show any one you use on here. So it's the V600 is the one I use. The Epson Perfection V600 Visioneer is one that you can do negatives and slides with, and I've talked about it before. Now that one cost, I want to say like $300 plus. We bought ours new. I would never buy a flatbed used, just my personal opinion. But the DS, the duplex here, I would easily snag up any way I could get it. So let's pop this open here. So this is the main app that comes up. Again, I was doing 600 DPI for the ones we just did. It will save all your information. You can adjust and do other things with it too. Image adjustment, so if you want to mask it or take off screening or anything else, brightness, contrast, white, you can mess with all of that also. This is the main setting that you would go through here. Now there is a configuration button also, and there's a few other things you can do. You can change the densities and things along that line. Binding position for double-sided scanning. Now that's one that I always make sure to check, and I do the left. That means that it will side to the left. So as long as you've got everything in there correct, it will make sure that they line up based on the left side of your page. Now there's an edge fill option here, and I always use that. That gives me a little bit of space around the edge, like I said. Now you've got a detect double feed option also. Now if you click the detect double feed option, if two items are going through at the same time or there's something just not right, it will stop instantly so you can pull it out and check it. Now if you don't click this, you'll get a whole bunch of scans that may be two images scanned or two cards scanned at the same time. Now here's the paper thickness that I was talking about right here. Standard or thin. So if you're doing real thin pieces of paper, this is where you would mess with it. Now you can adjust crop margins. I don't mess with that. If it has hole punches too, let's say you're doing some paper, you can automatically remove those. And this just saves setting on where you're going to save it. Preview, if that's what you want to mess with, quality preview. I don't usually do a preview. I just scan. That's literally about it, other than setting up where the file actually goes. Now I just threw it in a folder here so you can kind of get a gist on that. You can set it up to save it in many different formats. Obviously JPEG for me is what I always use. And then I open it up to where it's actually saved so I can look to make sure they all came out okay once it's done. And that's the only settings I do there. Let's just scan one just to give you a quick idea on what pops up when you scan. Again, I'm doing 600 DPI. If you do it at, say, 75, the cards are going through so fast, you have to have a stack on there ready to go instantly. You just have to be ready to go the minute it starts scanning and feed it. Now, again, this is at 600 DPI. It's literally just scanned it. You'll see it pop up in just a second here. And this is one of the folders I just happen to have up. And these are some of the postcards I just scanned. I'll pop this one up, and as you can see, it's a really nice image here. Now, to rotate, I would always recommend checking it so you know which direction it comes up, and then scan them all the same way so you won't have to mess with it. Now, I could scan this horizontally in the machine as well and have them straight out in the direction it's going. The scan is really nice, honestly. This is a printed one. It's not a real photo, so the quality of the postcard is actually exceptional on this one here. And that's literally all there is to it. It automatically saves them to anywhere you want. This is the folder, as you can see, that they're saved at. This is one of the features that I always use. I will always save them to an SD card, and then I will keep the SD card with the actual items that I scanned. Well, there you have it. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Smokers would rather fight than switch.
So get the charcoal filter with a taste worth fighting for. Join the unswitchables. Smoke Tareyton.
Us Tareyton smokers would rather fight than switch.
Tareyton from the American Tobacco Company.